as you start to consider your career path moving forward. But Dr. McLeod and Joey, thank you for putting this together and for inviting me to be part of it.
Wonderful. Okay, so we're going to get started. Just to give you a sense of what to expect today, we're going to just give you a little bit of overview about Seton Hall University and what to expect as an undergraduate student. We're going to talk about the different options for our 3+3 program with our law school. And then we're going to give you a little overview of the Seton Hall Law School and what to expect during the law school portion of the program. We'll talk about scholarships and applying and questions and answers. As Joey indicated, you can ask questions during the presentation in the chat and he'll respond. But also at the very end, we will take questions and answers out loud where you can raise your hand, or we'll just read the questions in the chat so the group can benefit from the responses. So let me get started telling you a little bit about Seton Hall as a whole. We have about 6,000 undergraduate students. We're very gender balanced. We have representation from all over the country. And from many different countries, and we're also a very diverse university with over 45% of our students being students of color. One of the things we pride ourselves on as an institution is the personal attention that we give to our students and the community being a very welcoming one. We are a Catholic university and we were founded almost 160 years ago. And our mission was to create a home for the mind, the heart, and spirit so that we would have a place where everyone could feel welcome and belong. We are small. We do have small class sizes at the undergraduate level, just 21 students, and we have a 14-to-1 student-teacher ratio. So you're really going to know your faculty very well and experience close mentorship from them, not only at the undergraduate stage, but also at the graduate level when you would transition to the law school. We also pride ourselves at the undergraduate level of having minimal graduate assistance. So you'll really connect directly with your faculty right away. And we have some amazing faculty at the university. And they are engaged themselves in rigorous research and scholarship. They are well known and accomplished in their fields, former artists, ambassadors, Fulbright scholars, lawmakers, business leaders. Some are judges, and they really pride themselves on challenging our students in a rigorous academic environment that is going to call upon you to be a critical thinker, an ethical thinker, and a well-equipped decision maker. We really have, I think, the perfect mix. We're a research institution, so we have the resources, the support services, but we also give that supportive, nurturing environment that will help you succeed and excel. In fact, students as early as freshman year can start partnering with faculty members on research projects, scholarship, attend conferences, and do presentations. Things that many universities generally leave for graduate students, we start engaging our students in as early as freshman year. That's why we've had students go on to be Rhodes Scholars and Fulbright Scholars. We have many who have gone on to be researchers and award-winning journalists or artists. We have many people working in the diplomatic corps, in higher education, on television, and in major corporations. We have the former chair of the S&P, chairs of major companies like Oppenheimer's, judges, lawyers, the governor of New Jersey, actually, graduate of our law school. And I'm happy to say that nearly 20% of the New Jersey state legislature itself are graduates of Seton Hall University. So we offer a lot of opportunities and a platform for students to really be successful. One of the underpinnings of that success is that students will engage in experiential learning right away, and internships and career preparation is a cornerstone of that. We have over 17,000 internship opportunities at the university, and as soon as freshman year, you'll start working with the Career Center. And we have lots of students engaged in internships. Over 80% of our students do an internship. Many do more than one. In fact, that's one of the reasons we are ranked in the top 5 in the whole United States for providing internship opportunities for our students. It's also one of the reasons that 93% of our students have gainful employment shortly after graduation. And it's also why our students are able to earn so much. In fact, 10 years after graduation, they are earning higher than the national average. And they are also students who are ranked in the top 25 for the highest paid graduates in the nation. So we're very, very pleased about the career preparation we're able to provide for all of our students. And Isa will speak to you a little later about the law school and specifically the type of preparation and experiential learning you can expect from the law school. But just in general, we start that out right away as an undergraduate so that you can build your resume and get more comfortable with the field that you're interested in. We also offer a very robust campus life at Seton Hall. For those of you who don't know, we're in South Orange, New Jersey, which is only 14 miles from New York City. And our law school is in Newark, even closer to the city. We have a very residential campus. We have about 80% of our freshmen living on campus and 50% of our total undergraduate body living on campus, and where we have 6 residence halls and 2 apartment buildings off campus. We have lots of student clubs and activities. We have wonderful programs like award-winning debate teams and ethic bowls. We have theater performances. We have wonderful musical ensembles. We have great Division I athletics. If you follow basketball, you know us from the Big East. But if you're not a Big East level player, there's still tons of opportunity. We have club sports, which over 50% of our students participate in. We have Greek life. So it's really a campus with lots of activities and options for students to engage outside of the classroom as well and make friends. And I'm very pleased to say that right now during the COVID pandemic, we have been operating with in-person classes. So students can choose to be completely remote if they want, or if they want to be in person, then they do sort of an A/B schedule where half the time they're in class in person and half the class they're online. And we're still having students live in our residence halls and have student activities and social activities so that they can still make friends and not give up on all of the excitement that they hope for from their college education. And I'm happy to say we've also put into place so many safety protocols that our campus has been very safe, and we have experienced a very wonderful semester. Want to shift gears to talk to you about the 3+3 law program, because that's why you're all here today, to learn about that. So we have an amazing law school, one of the best in the country, and Isa will speak to you about that in a few moments. I wanted you to know that we have multiple options. If you would like to be part of our 3+3 law program, you can actually major in a variety of subjects as an undergrad. So you can major in business, you can major in diplomacy and international relations, you can major in political science, social work, or religious studies. So these 5 programs allow you to have this condensed 3+3 program where you'll spend your first 3 years at undergrad at Seton Hall's South Orange campus pursuing one of these programs, and then you'll move on and do your last 3 years pursuing your law school degree at the law school campus in Newark. So these pathways are very exciting. I will let you know that you can still come to Seton Hall and go to the law school by majoring in any subject and being a pre-law student. However, they would not be this accelerated 3+3 path. The 3+3 path is offered for these 5 undergraduate majors only. And let me just tell you a little bit more about these programs in particular. I'll start with the 3+3 business and law. This would allow you to earn a bachelor's degree from our Stillman School of Business, which is an exceptional school of business with lots of opportunities to offer students, including a leadership program that has been ranked #1 in the country for over 5 years in a row. So students would study in the Stillman School of Business, and as a business school student, you can focus on many areas of business like management, marketing, economics, finance. You would work with an advisor to decide what aspect of business you would like to focus on. And you would do that for the first 3 years. And after that point, you would transition to the School of Law, and you would complete your bachelor's degree and your JD. And you can enter this program as long as you have these criteria listed here. We're going to review your application holistically. We're going to look for you to have an unweighted high school GPA of at least a 3.5 or higher. This year, our SAT and ACT scores are optional, so you just certainly don't have to submit them, but I do encourage you to submit those scores if you feel that they strengthen your application in a holistic manner. So if you look at your test scores and you feel that those scores strengthen your application, and I would generally say that anything above a 1200 would be likely to do that, then I encourage you to submit those. But we're going to look at your essay, your recommendations. We're going to look at your curriculum in school. We're going to look at your the high school that you've attended, the activities you've been involved in, your grade point average, of course, and holistically review your application for admission to this program. So all you need to do is actually apply to the university. You can do so using the Seton Hall application or the common application. And if you do so, you just select the major that says law and business, 3+3. And I will let you know that you do have to select this at the point of admission. Once you're already enrolled at the university as a freshman, you can't change to this program as easily. So it is much better that you apply at the point of admission for this program. I will also tell you that there is no limit to the number of people we can admit to this program. So if you do meet the conditions of a holistic review, then you'll be admitted to this program, and we don't cap the number of people who can be admitted. That fact is true for all of our 3+3 programs, not just the business school. Let me tell you about the 3+3 with the School of Diplomacy and International Relations. So the diplomacy school is also amazing. They have a very exciting relationship with the United Nations Association. In fact, our curriculum was jointly written by them, and our students have unprecedented access to internships at the UN. We've had many prominent ambassadors and prime ministers come speak on our campus and have audiences with our students in the School of Diplomacy. Lots of opportunities to study abroad and do internships or community service abroad. So this is a very exciting program for people who are interested in international relations. And similar to the business program, you would do the first 3 years of undergrad in the international relations program. And then you would transition to do your last 3 years at the law school, where you would complete your bachelor's and also earn your JD degree. Similar to the School of Business, this also involves a holistic review of your application, although the GPA requirement is slightly lower, a 3.2. Again, SAT or ACT is not optional, but we do strongly encourage you to submit that if you feel that on the whole it strengthens your application. You can also apply for this program on the Seton Hall app or the Common app using the major called Law and International Relations 3+3 program. And then within the College of Arts and Sciences, there are 3 different academic programs that you can focus on as an undergraduate: political science, religion, or social work. Either of those 3 majors are a wonderful complement to our law school. They allow you to focus in this area as an undergraduate, and you are able to do internships related to these fields. You're able to work with faculty on research or scholarship. The political science program actually has a semester in DC that you can engage in to learn more about the political process. Social work has lots of wonderful organizations that come to campus that allow you to engage with them in volunteer work or internships. So these programs are all designed so that you can spend your first 3 years doing your undergraduate degree at the Seton Hall South Orange campus. And then in the last 3 years, you move to the law school to finish your bachelor's degree and then earn your JD degree. These are also holistic admissions requirements, and the GPA minimum is a 3.2. Again, submission of SAT or ACT is optional, but encouraged if you feel it will strengthen your application on the whole. Again, I will say that all of these programs that I've discussed don't have a limit to the number of students we can admit. Because the Seton Hall Law School is our own law school, they are willing to partner with us to have many of our qualified students transition, and we don't put that limit at the point of admission. If you do want to apply to any of these programs, again, Seton Hall app or the Common app, and you would just look for either law and political science, law and religion, or law and social work as your major of choice on the application. Let me say that all students who are part of any of these 3+3 law programs are also considered pre-law students. And as a result, each of these students will be meeting regularly with a pre-law advisor within their college. They will advise you on what courses to take to ensure that you stay on track with your curriculum, that you meet all of the degree requirements, and that you take all of the courses you need to transition successfully to the law school. They'll also ensure that you stay on track to gain admission to the law school, which we'll talk about in a moment, as you do have to meet certain criteria once you're enrolled in the university to keep up your status in the joint 3+3 law program. And the pre-law advisor will be working with you throughout your undergraduate years, providing you workshops and advice and mentorship. They will provide opportunities for networking, help you connect with people who are currently in the law profession so you can ask for questions and guidance. They will also assist you with the process of applying to law school. Of course, it's our sincere hope that you'll stay in the 3+3 program and transition to the law school at Seton Hall. But of course, the pre-law advisor is there to help you in the event that you want to discuss other options. The most important thing, however, to transition to the Seton Hall School of Law is to make sure that you meet certain conditions when you're enrolled at the university as an undergrad. So just because you make it in the door doesn't mean it's fait accompli. You do have to study hard and work hard and apply yourself. So you will have to have a cumulative 3.6 GPA at Seton Hall University for all of your undergraduate years. You will also have to take the LSAT in the December of your third year of undergraduate, and your score has to be in the at least in the 77th percentile. And you will still have to apply to the law school so that they can trigger a review of your other pieces of information. And of course, you need to remain very ethical and not engage in any conduct that would bar you from taking the bar. So it is important that you take this process seriously. Law school is very difficult, and you will have to apply yourself there. So we want to make sure that you keep your studies up at Seton Hall and are prepared to do well in law school. In order to transition to the law school, obviously you'll have to take all of the appropriate courses as an undergrad, and you'll have to meet all of the requirements that I just outlined in order to successfully transition to the law school. And you're actually enter the law school upon completion of your third year of undergraduate study. And during your fourth year, you would begin taking classes at the law school itself in Newark, during which time, if you wanted to, you could still live on the South Orange campus, although many students, I suppose, would want to get an apartment with their friend. But you will, in the fourth year, be taking courses at the law school. However, these courses will fulfill the requirements that complete your undergraduate degree and also fulfill requirements towards your law school degree. So at the very end of your fourth year, which would be your first year of school at the law school, if you pass all of those classes, you will complete your bachelor's degree and actually be able to walk during the graduation ceremony for undergraduate graduation. And then you would continue at the law school for the remaining 2 years. And then if you're successful, obviously you'd have a graduation from the law school as well. So let's switch gears and tell you about what to expect at the 3 years when you would actually be studying at the law school. So I'm going to turn the floor over to my colleague, Isa.
Thank you so much, Dr. McLeod. And I'm happy to tell you about the law school. I think one of the things that you will notice is there are a lot of themes that you will have heard from Dr. McLeod about Seton Hall that really resonates with the law school as well. We are one university and we have a universal belief. We are definitely a law school that is outcomes focused, but student centered, which means that we really believe in that personal attention that you heard from Dr. McLeod. At the law school, it's about one student at a time. We understand that you're coming to law school with your own goals, with your own dreams, but also through your own path, whatever that might look like. And so we want to make sure that we are creating a plan from the very beginning of your law school career that makes the most sense for you and will help you achieve your career goals. Now, you notice I mentioned career goals rather than just that will help you get a job. Our goal is really to help you think long term, and our commitment is to be with you for that long-term outlook, which is, again, to make sure that you achieve that goal of a career path that makes the most sense for you. You'll notice on the slide next to us, I can't advance the slides, Dr. McLeod, so you might have to advance them for me. But on the next slide, you'll notice that we are definitely a top-ranked law school, not just for our weekend program, but through U.S. News and World Reports as it relates to as it relates to all the other 200 and plus law schools out there. And again, we are considered a top 50 law school, and that comes down to our focus on outcomes and our focus on one student at a time. So it's a really great opportunity, I think, for students to think about not only attending a great undergraduate institution, but really completing and pursuing a higher ed degree at the higher ed. So what does it mean, and you can advance to the next slide, Dr. McLeod, what does it mean to be a 3+3 student, even as you begin your career as an undergrad? Well, even though you're as an undergraduate student at the South Orange campus, you're going to have access to all the law school resources in your freshman year, in your sophomore year, in your junior year. You're going to have access to the law school admissions office. You're going to have engagement with our law school faculty. You're also going to have engagement with our current students, an opportunity to do that. We create dedicated admissions workshops with your pre-law advisor as a whole with Seton Hall University, but also individual pre-law advisors as it relates to each of the colleges that we have partners with. And you will get invited to all law school events, speakers, and symposia throughout your undergraduate career, even before you show up at the law school. So a great way to begin building your network as early as your freshman, sophomore, and junior years. So as you think about that, we do have a summer institute for pre-legal studies that we open to students that usually are eligible for EOF or EOF opportunity grants and whatnot. And it's a 5-week summer residential skills building program, and it's taught by a faculty member of the law school, which replicates some of your academic challenges of the first year of law school and teaches you skills that we believe you need in order to be a successful law student, but also a successful practitioner in the field. This is not required of 3+3 students, but it's something that we introduce to you and that we make sure to help facilitate for you if it is something that you are eligible for and something that you are interested in. So definitely something to think about. Now, what does it mean to apply to law school? What are the components of the application, and when does all this come into play? As I mentioned earlier, the law school really works with your pre-law advisor in each of the colleges in creating a program and engagement series that you will work with throughout your freshman, your junior, your freshman, sophomore, and junior year to help really think about what you need to do to be prepared for the law school application, which for our 3+3 students happens in your junior year. So you will still need to complete an application, as Dr. McLeod mentioned. We don't have a common application, but what we do have is a clearinghouse to law school, and what we have is called a Flex app. So there is a clearinghouse, Law School Admission Council, lsac.org, is the organization that we use. All of our ABA accredited law schools apply through lsac.org, and you must complete your application through their website. Each individual law school, like Seton Hall, will still have our own unique application, but LSAC allows for demographic data or common demographic data to filter through, so you'll only have to do that one time. You will have to take a standardized exam, the LSAT or the GRE. As Dr. McLeod said, in order to gain access to the law school for the LSAT, you will have to have scored in the 77th percentile. And in the GRE, you will have to have scored in the 85th percentile in all components of that. You'll also have to get your transcript sent from Seton Hall undergrad, and you'll have to send that through our clearinghouse, which is lsac.org, and they will compile that and send it to us. We also require a resume, as well as letters of recommendation and a personal statement. In addition to that, and Dr. McLeod alluded to this, we want to make sure that you are good citizens and require a character and fitness statement, which will be reviewed by the bar in which you want to sit for. Most of our students sit for the New York and New Jersey bar. Again, lsac.org is our clearinghouse. It's never too early to get an lsac.org account. You can just sign up for that and sort of explore all these components and see what it looks like. So let's advance and take a look at the curriculum. What does it look like to be a law student? So the first year of law school is actually highly regulated. You're gonna take the same courses with some nuances at almost every law school that you attend. It's regulated by the American Bar Association, and you will complete 30 credits in your first year of law school. I've outlined the courses that you'll take in the spring and in the fall. And once you've completed those 30 credits for the fall and spring of your first year of law school, you will have also completed your fourth year of undergrad, and you will then graduate with your bachelor's and have the opportunity to walk and celebrate with your peers and colleagues in your undergraduate institution. And then you're going to come back to the law school for your second and third year courses. Your second and third year, these are primarily electives, with the exception of a couple of required courses in the business and lawyering and legal writing courses. The rest of these second and third year courses are going to be up to your discretion. You take whatever area of interest you're excited or interested in, that's how you fulfill your 88 credits. For those of you that are coming through the business program, generally the business associations and the financial concepts for lawyers is waived for you, but that's something that we can work with you as you move forward. So that's what the first year of law school, or the first 3 years of law school looks like. Now, if you advance to the next slide, you're going to see a little bit about what we talked about in terms of engagement and experiential education. Dr. McLeod alluded to what it's going to look like in your undergrad, and the apple doesn't fall far from the tree. We believe in it in the law school as well. So all of our students have the opportunity to engage in real client training. At Seton Hall, we don't just teach you how to think like a lawyer, we actually teach you how to be a lawyer, and we really teach you how to be practice ready. So our students have the opportunity to participate in pro bono, which loosely translated is just sort of free or highly discounted law work. And our students have, in the past year, just for 2019, engaged in 17,500 pro bono hours, which means they're giving back. And this is primarily for our Newark community. They're giving back to our Newark community 17,500 hours. And our clinics and our pro bono really are within the areas of social justice and social engagement. So it's family law, it's veterans clinics, it's about our immigrants as it relates to the city of Newark. We have our own law firm, if you will, at the law school. It's a Center for Social Justice. They oversee all of our pro bono and our clinical programs. And this is really where we're able to engage with our community. Now, as you advance the next slide, you'll see that through this real world experience and through our dedication to one student at a time and our outcomes, we've really had some great successes. We've seen a high bar pass rate for our state of New Jersey and for New York, which are the two areas that most of our graduates sit for. And we've exceeded 90 to 95%, depending on the state that you're looking at. If you look at the overall class employment, if you advance to the next slide, you'll notice that we're in the top 20 for job placement rate. And for the class of 2019, we have a 97.1 overall employment rate. And I have to tell you, hot off the press, I'm actually not allowed to publish these numbers yet. For the class of 2020, which was strongly impacted, as you might imagine, by COVID, we are already seeing a 92% placement rate. So we're trending towards that 97%. And if you see through the slide, our students are doing everything and anything that they could possibly imagine. Regardless of what it is you want to practice, there's going to be a path for you at the law school. And again, that goes back to our one student at a time approach at the law school. So that's a little snippet of the law school. There's a lot more I can share with you about our law school, but I want to turn it back to Dr. McLeod to wrap us up and then answer your questions so that we make sure to really focus on the areas that you're most excited about or you're most concerned on. So Dr. McLeod, with that, I'm going to turn it back to you, and then I'll take questions towards the end.
Thank you so much, Isa. I appreciate that comprehensive understanding of the law school. So want to talk to you a little bit now about scholarships and what you can expect for the first 3 years when you're doing your undergraduate work at Seton Hall's main campus in South Orange. So when we review your application for admission, we at the same time will review your application to see if you're qualified for any scholarships. The majority of our scholarships are given automatically as part of this review, so you don't need to submit a special application. At the time we notify you of your admission, we'll also be able to notify you of a scholarship. And those scholarships are only for the 3 years that you're at undergrad. They do not apply to the 4th year, which you start at the law school, even though those credits apply towards undergrad. We also do have a number of special scholarships that you can apply for. These are for people who have maybe done a certain amount of community service or who have leadership skills. And those scholarships do have a deadline of January 15th. I encourage you to look on our website, shu.edu/go scholarships to learn more about that. I will let you know that we're very generous. We give over $100 million every year in scholarships at the undergraduate level, and about 97% of our students actually receive a scholarship. And I know the law school also has some scholarship opportunities, so I'm going to ask Isa to speak about those.
Absolutely. So at the law school, there's no separate application for scholarships. Your law school application is the same application with the same information that we use to consider you for scholarships. It is an academic merit scholarship, so we do start with your academic profile, but because we do a holistic review like the undergraduate does in terms of your admission to the law school, the rest of the other components of your application can also play a role in whether or not we increase or decrease that base academic merit scholarship. So it's really important for you to take a look at your entire application package, certainly focus on the academic profile, your standardized test scores, and your GPA, but also the other components of your application. At Seton Hall, we're really proud to report that about 92% of our incoming students, particularly for the 2020 incoming class, received some form of scholarship funding. And about 75 to 85% of those students are able to retain their scholarship after their first year. So we're truly committed, like the undergrad institution is, to helping our students fund their legal education.
So we are actually coming up on our first application deadline at the university. So I wanted to let you know that Seton Hall offers early action decision. We don't have early decision, just early action, because we don't want to put that undue pressure on you by making you have the pressure of an early decision. But we do have early action, which is on November 15th and also on December 15th, 2 deadlines for early action. And early action basically means that you're letting us know that we're a very strong consideration for you, and that alerts us to that fact, and then we will review your application quickly. We say if you have your early action 1 application in by November 15th, you should get a response by Christmas. And in general, we'll try to turn all of the early action decisions around as quickly as possible, because we do give priority to students who apply early action, but you don't have the added pressure of needing to make a commitment if we do admit you early action. Then we do have 2 regular decision deadlines on February 1st and March 1st. And we consider those applications after we review the early action applications. The earlier applications get reviewed first, which is important because we do have some forms of scholarship and financial aid that are given on a first come, first served basis. When you apply to the university, you'll need to submit the application. Again, you can do so using the common application or the Seton Hall application, which can be found on our website at admissions.shu.edu. You will have to pay an application fee of $55. We ask that you write an essay. We give you a number of suggested topics, but you can write on any topic that you feel would give us insight into your academic background or any aspects of your life that you want to share with us. We will need your high school transcript and a counselor report. SAT and ACT, as I indicated, are optional this year as an accommodation due to the pandemic, so you don't have to submit these. However, if you do have SAT or ACT scores on file and you feel that they provide a stronger, holistic review of your application, then I recommend you submit them. In general, we say that that should be above our SAT average, which right now our SAT average is about a 1235. And then, of course, in addition to a counselor report, we'd like a recommendation from one of your teachers. So if you submit all of that by the deadlines I mentioned, we will do our best to review your application as quickly as possible. You will be assigned a dedicated admissions counselor who will read your application, and you will be provided information about who that individual is if you are admitted, so that you can follow up with them for any questions you may have. So I think that we've covered most of the bases for you today. And I know some of you might have been asking questions in the chat, but I'm going to turn it back over to Joey now to see if any of you want to ask questions out loud, or if you want to read any of the questions that are in the chat.
Yeah, Dr. McLeod, we do have a couple of questions that I jotted down that might be beneficial for everyone to hear. The first one is, what is the coursework difference between the 3+3 program and doing 4 years undergraduate and being advised in the pre-law program?
Sure. So I'll take that, and then Issa, you feel free to chime in if you want. So basically, if you are not part of the 3+3 program, then you're going to be doing 4 years of undergraduate and 3 years of law school. So it would basically be an additional year of study at the undergraduate level. The way the 3+3 programs work, all of them, is that your 4th year of undergraduate study has minimized some of your elective courses. And as a result, you're taking law school classes that count as electives towards your undergraduate degree. So they are helping facilitate completion of your undergraduate degree. It's an accelerated path. Now, I think that's a good path for people who want a challenge, who are very focused, who definitely know they want this path. But if you are not exactly sure, or you want to explore a minor or a double major, or take a whole semester to study abroad, you might be better served by doing a full 4-year undergraduate degree as a pre-law student and then transitioning to the law school. But the real difference is doing the 3+3 saves you a year of undergraduate, and that's also a year of tuition. So real benefit there.
Yeah, and the only thing that I would like to add is, and Dr. McLeod did allude to this, those of you that are interested and end up pursuing the 3+3, it really doesn't leave much wiggle room for you to explore other electives. All those electives will be used in your first year of law school. So if you're coming into your undergrad career going, I'm not really sure if law school is the path for me, or I really want to do other classes, you may not have that flexibility in those elective courses to do that. So that's the biggest challenge with the 3+3 is all those electives that you might have normally for you to explore what's out there won't be available to you as a 3+3 student, because they will be filled by those courses that you take in your 4th year, which is essentially the first year of law school for us. So hopefully that clarifies that a little bit.
Thank you both. The next one, I believe, would be good for Dr. McLeod. If I chose to go undecided, and then after freshman year I decided to transfer into the 3+3 program, will that be possible? So can students transfer into any of these 3+3 programs?
So ideally, it's best that you begin directly in these programs, especially for the business school and the School of Diplomacy. With some of the 3+3 law programs in arts and sciences, it might be possible. But again, the real constraint here is that it's a very tight sequence of courses that you must take at the undergraduate level in order to allow you to be able to transition to the law school at the end of your 3rd year. So if you take too much time as an undecided student, let's say your first year, your freshman year, then you might not be on track to do that. Now, there might be some faculty willing to work with you, so you could take a class in the summer or take some extra credits in a semester so you can get back on track. But that would be a very case-by-case review. Of course, the law school would still accept you if you had all of the prerequisites and all the requirements and all the courses you needed, but you don't want to set yourself up to be in a position where you took your whole first year and you didn't take 3/4 of the classes you needed to sequence your curriculum accordingly. So it's really not optimal or ideal. Let me say that if you start out as an undecided or you want to change your mind, you can still go to the law school, just not as part of the 3+3 program. That we have a wonderful relationship. We are one university, so the law school is going to always look favorably on applicants from the university as long as you've applied yourself and you have all of the standards that they need. So it's not that the option is closed to you.
Thank you. The next one I have here is whether or not varsity athletes are able to participate in a program like this.
Yes, there would be no problem with a varsity athlete participating. We do have varsity athletes who participate in similar joint degree programs like PA and PT or a joint MD program. I will say it's not for the faint of heart. It is a very rigorous curriculum and course of study, because lots of the electives that you would pursue in undergraduate are now being taken by law school classes. You have a lot less fluff, if you will, in your curriculum. It's very intense and you have to do well to keep up your standards. And if you're going to be a varsity athlete, there's also a lot of pressure on your time and commitment. We do have wonderful tutors. Our faculty are used to working with varsity athletes and accommodating, maybe arranging a different time for them to take a test or to do a makeup assignment. So there is flexibility there, but I don't want to mislead you into thinking it'll be easy. It's possible, but you have to be very committed. And I know from dealing with other students like yourselves that usually students interested in these types of programs are overachievers. So, if that's who you are, then I'm sure you can handle it. Issa, did you want to add anything to that?
The only thing that I'll add to that, again, is this is something for you folks to really think about what your goals are and what you're hoping to get out of not just your law school experience, but your undergraduate experience. As a law student, even though you might still have some NCAA eligibility, as a law student, it's going to be difficult for you to fulfill that eligibility. So you might have to make the call in that 4th year of undergrad, also known as 1st year of law school, where you might not be able to play on that sport team, or you might have to withdraw from that team only because it's really tough to make that commitment in your 1st year. So if you're okay fulfilling your 3 years of eligibility and saying, all right, that's really all I was looking for in my career, and in my 4th year, I'll waive that eligibility and be a full-time law student, then this is definitely an option for you. But it's something for you to think about and consider and work with your advisors, because if you wanted to get that full 4-year eligibility, it's not going to happen as a 1st year law student. So that's the only thing I wanted to leave as food for thought.
The next one, Issa, perhaps you can help out with. I just lost it. Some common careers, and I know this is a tough one because students go into all different sort of areas, but some common careers or areas that our law students tend to go into after graduating from Seton Hall Law.
Yeah, and this is actually the part that I love about law school and that I love about law. My background is also in medical school admissions, and so I've seen both sides of it. And the thing that I love about law and law school is that you can come from all backgrounds and come from many different perspectives, and the law looks for that and welcomes that. We actually don't have a magic major to law school. We get different majors. I have culinary arts majors, I have theater majors, and certainly I have our traditional poli-sci, English and history. And so that's the neat thing that I really love about law school. And so, as Joey already said, our graduates are doing a wide variety of different things. Now, one of the things that I will say that we have been really successful with, and that most of our graduates do, and it's actually a pretty coveted position, and I know a lot of law schools would like to be in our situation, is that a lot of our students will do clerkships. And clerkships, I liken to, if you think about being a doctor, right? And we see this in our shows, so I know you can relate to this. I liken it to the year of residency in medical school. Basically what that is as a resident in medical school, you're a doctor, right? For all intents and purposes, you are on the floor, you're seeing patients, you're, making diagnoses. And a clerkship is the same thing for a law student. You're working for a judge, you're with them, you're their right-hand person, you're writing their briefs, you're writing their opinions, you're in the courts with them, you're shadowing them when they're going to networking events, and you are learning everything that you could possibly learn about the legal profession in this 1 year. Some students, like medical school, will do a second year if they're specializing, a federal clerkship if they're trying to achieve a particular path. So that is the one thing that I see almost all of our students pursuing. But after that, our students go off and do a variety of different things, from working in the public defender's office, to working for private firms, to hanging their own shingle, to going to being general counsel at a large institution, to going into our military. It's Veterans Appreciation Week actually at Seton Hall Law. And so we actually have a good number of veterans that are currently enrolled, but also a good number of veterans that are serving as in our alumni capacity. So we have students that work in both military and civilian positions with all of our armed forces and the Department of Defense. So our students can do anything they want to do. That's the neat thing about Seton Hall and our practice ready approach, and not one student at a time approach, is that we create a path for you from the very beginning of your career at the law school. So Joey, I don't know if I was able to give you one specific answer, but I was giving you some idea of what our students end up doing.
I would also add that, it also doesn't limit you to any particular field. Some people work for nonprofit organizations, some people work for large business corporations, some people work for education, maybe do social work, some people work in politics or for the government, judges. There's lots of different pathways. If you think about it, like every large company, a pharmaceutical company, a food company, they all have legal arms. And so there's lots of avenues in different ways that you can use a law degree. And of course you could be a professor.
And it's ever changing and ever evolving. I mean, years ago when I got started in the profession, who knew that cybersecurity or intellectual property would be a thing, or space law would be a thing? And now it's really growing and evolving. So who knows, in the 3 years that it takes you to join our Seton Hall Law family, there might be a new area of law that is emerging that you would like to champion or be a part of. So that's the thing that I like about sort of the legal profession.
Great, thank you both. The next one is sort of going to be for both of you as well. For students accepted to this program, if they don't maintain the requirements for the program, what happens? If a student drops below that 3.6, what happens? And then on the other side, if a student does maintain all of these requirements and applies to the law school in their fourth year, or while entering their fourth year, are there any additional hurdles that they need to go through, or is it sort of a smooth sailing trip to law school?
So I'll start and then I'll let Issa chime in. So the requirements to transition to the law school are strict. You do have to meet those GPA requirements. You do have to study hard for the LSAT, take it seriously. You do have to fill out the application and send in all the required information. The goal here is not to take subpar students. The goal here is to create a pathway for Seton Hall students, because we are one university and one family. But of course, we graduate some of the top law school graduates in the country, and we don't want the pipeline from Seton Hall to be a subpar. So you do have to take it seriously. You do have to meet all of the criteria. That's why your pre-law advisor will be meeting with you throughout undergrad to keep you on track, to let you know where you stand. If you are below the GPA or any of the other criteria, when the GPA is what you'd know more likely throughout your undergraduate study, they'll tell you that you're not part of the program anymore. However, you can still get pre-law advising. The pre-law advisor will still meet with you, will still guide you. You can still apply to the law school. You'll be a less competitive applicant, and there's less certainty in your ability to attend the law school. But the pre-law advisor will still work with you and perhaps help you apply to different law schools or find other opportunities. It doesn't mean we'll stop supporting you, but the certainty diminishes if you don't keep those standards. Issa, did you?
Yeah, the one thing that I certainly want to add to that is, if you think back to what I shared earlier about some of the benefits of being part of the 3+3 program, it's that relationship that you build not just with your pre-law advisor at your undergrad, but with the admissions team at the law school. So we work closely with all of our counterparts at the colleges that Dr. McLeod mentioned, to ensure that all the 3+3 plus any other pre-law candidate is successful in their journey to law school. So we'll have that relationship, that connection, that we can work on. Although, as Dr. McLeod said, there's less certainty, there's less guarantee for that smooth sailing, that smooth transition. It doesn't mean that we then say, oh, well, you don't meet these requirements, you're on your own. We still work together. I know that I work, Dean Onimus is the contact, for example, at the business school. She and I work together closely on all students, whether they're meeting the requirements or whether they're on the bubble or whether they fail to meet the requirements, and we try and find a pathway for them to continue to achieve their goal. So I think the path is always going to be there for you. I think, as Dr. McLeod mentioned, it might be less smooth or less guaranteed if you don't meet those requirements. But Joey, to the next part of, or the other part of your question about what are the other hurdles if you do make that 3.6 GPA, the biggest hurdle, particularly for students who are applying to undergrad this year in a test optional undergrad community, law schools are not, and or at least right now, not talking about going test optional. So you're still going to have to think about preparing for that standardized exam and putting your best foot forward, because that GPA alone is not going to get you into the law school through the 3+3 program. You still have to meet those minimum percentile requirements on the LSAT and the GPA. And then the second component of that is character and fitness, right? So you really have to think about how you carry yourself through your entire undergraduate career to ensure that your character and fitness component for your law school application isn't going to be a detriment. Now, listen, we all understand, and believe it or not, I know you may not believe this, but both Dr. McLeod and I, and I know Joey, although he's probably closer than both of us, we went to undergrad too. Listen, I've enjoyed college, I've experienced it. So in and of itself, certain infractions or things that you might have experienced, open candle or whatnot in undergrad isn't going to necessarily keep you out of law school, but you have to disclose all of it. And that's the biggest difference, is you have to disclose it, even though it might seem little to you, like, oh, it was just a warning from my RA about a candle or a burner or whatnot. You have to disclose that. And we're looking for a pattern. So if you got a warning from your RA in your freshman year, and then a warning from your RA in your sophomore year, and then you get written up in your junior year, that's the pattern, right? So you have to really think about that conduct that is going to follow you into your law school and then career path after that. So that might be where some of the hiccups lie. But again, if you just keep a good head on your shoulders and make the right choices, in and of itself, it's not going to keep you out of law school. But not disclosing it could, very much so.
Great, thank you. The next one, Dr. McLeod, sort of going back to what we talked about earlier about the sort of rigid nature of the first 3 years. Some students wanted to know if it was possible first to minor in one of these programs, and then the other question was, is it possible to study abroad with any of these programs?
So you can't minor in 3+3 law because it is a very prescribed major that transitions you to go to law school after 3 years of undergraduate study. If you wanted, you can still major in political science or business or international relations or anything you want and have a minor, and then still apply to the law school, just not on this accelerated 3+3 path. In terms of study abroad, I think it's definitely possible to do the 3+3 and study abroad. It might not be a full semester study abroad. We have lots of study abroad programs over the summer. We have lots of programs that are during the winter session, volunteer opportunities. It might be possible to study abroad for a whole semester. Depending on the major and how closely you work with your advisor, I think that'd be more likely in, say, a program like the School of Diplomacy and International Relations, where many of their particular undergraduate requirements can more easily be met by programs abroad. So it's definitely something you can do as part of the 3+3 program, but I would advise you to notify your advisor early of that so that you can work it into your plan and think through how it would fit into your curriculum.
Thank you. Issa, we had a question about sort of how alumni come into play at the law school. Are they helpful in, students finding it, clerkships or jobs or anything like that?
Absolutely. And I think, so our alumni network is vast, but also extremely committed. And I think that, again, comes down to that personal attention, that one student at a time engagement model that we have once they're at the law school, right? So they really have a great experience. They get connected, they get connected with each other, and they get connected to the law school. As a result, their loyalty is longstanding. We have a saying at the law school that Seton Hall Law looks out for Seton Hall Law. And so they're very committed to helping each other, with mentoring or networking or pointing folks in the right direction. We have alumni that are certainly now recruiting partners and hiring partners in their respective firms. And again, they're looking out for their fellow Seton Hall Pirates, right, coming up through the ranks. We have a variety of networking opportunities that we put together at the law school. Even through the pandemic, we've transitioned it to virtual, and our alumni continue to participate in that and engage with our students. And again, through the one student at a time, we ensure that our students have the opportunity to engage with alums from the very beginning of their career. I'll just use this as one example. And it's the one that's at top of mind only, again, because it's Veterans Week at the law school. And so all of our events are currently focused on veterans and the military. But we had one of our more distinguished alums join us yesterday for a panel information session. He's the Deputy Judge Advocate General, the Deputy JAG for the U.S. Army. And in his team alone, the U.S. Army JAG, he has 11 Seton Hall grads working within his team. So, and that's just the Army. So he's like, he couldn't speak for Navy or whatnot. So that is something that is truly reflective of our Seton Hall law culture. And I think Seton Hall in general, in terms of the commitment, the loyalty, and the connection of our alumni. So it's widespread, and we have them all over the country. We have an active alumni association in California. We have an active one in Florida and Georgia. So our students are really branching out all throughout the country. So a real committed network for sure, that are committed to each other, but also our students as they progress through their careers.
Thank you. Dr. McLeod, we have a question for a student regarding the admissions process. They want to know if they weren't accepted to the dual law program, is it possible that they're still accepted to their undergraduate major?
Sure, absolutely. When we review your application for admission, we'll first see if you meet the criteria for admission to that specific academic program to which you've applied. And if not, then we will apply a second review to see if you actually meet the criteria for admission to the university as what we would call a pre-major, or you could then notify us and tell us that you wanted to change your major. So we would definitely do that because we do understand that while someone might not be ready for this program, they're definitely a good fit for the university. Joey, I think we'll take one or two more questions and then we'll wrap up. And I just want to let everybody know that we will be sending a copy of this recording to everybody who's participated today in case you wanted to re-review some of the information. So Joey, what else do you got for us?
Sure. Issa, perhaps you can shed some light on this. I'm not sure. Someone wants to know how collaborative the law school is, or is it more of a competitive environment with our law school students?
That's actually a really great question and something that all law students should really consider. Listen, law school's hard, law school's challenging, law school's pretty competitive in general. Seton Hall, we're not any different. But the one difference is that we truly believe that there's a way to do all this in a collegial, collaborative, and non-adversarial approach. And so we want to make sure that there are many opportunities for our students to have to work together, to have to collaborate, whether it's group projects, whether it's study groups, whether it's engaging in a student organization. We really want to make sure that we're putting you, even through this sort of hybrid virtual mode, we've had to think creatively about it, but we've still had to put students in situations where they still had to collaborate with each other and work together, because we really believe that that is paramount to their success. After all, those that are sitting around them in their classroom right now are going to be their colleagues in the practice of law. So we really believe that despite the fact that law school, just by nature of who is applying to law school and who's interested in this particular area of study, law school tends to be challenging and competitive. It can be done in a non-adversarial, collegial, and collaborative manner. We also want to make sure that students have the opportunity to collaborate with their faculty members. So it's also a non-adversarial approach in that manner. Our faculty are very down to earth, willing to work with students, helping our students advance. So lots of opportunities for students to collaborate with faculty on research projects, publications, and whatnot to continue to grow their portfolio and opportunity for learning. So a really great question and something to consider as you look at our law school, but law schools across the country, because you want to make sure that you're not sacrificing competitive and challenging environment for collegial and collaborative. You want an environment that's going to allow you to do both.
I want to just make a comment on that, because I've over the years dealt with many of our students who've gone to the law school, and maybe they used to work in our office, so I keep in touch with them. And one thing I notice about Seton Hall in general, undergrad and the students I talk to who've gone to the law school, I say this with great pride, but we have really good kids, good-natured students who are good human beings. So, you know, you see some movies where there's like a cutthroat, manipulative, underhanded environment and everyone's out to get everyone else. That's not Seton Hall. Yeah, there's competition, people want to succeed, but they also root for one another. They're happy if their classmate or their colleague does well. They don't begrudge someone else's success. It's a genuine commitment to one another. And I think that's just the spirit of the university. And I say that from the bottom of my heart. It's really one of the things that makes the university very special. So of course it's challenging, it's rigorous, people are trying their best, but people are very happy when their friends do well and aren't trying to undermine each other. And I don't think you find that everywhere.
Well, it sounds like that was a good spot for us to end. So if Dr. McLeod, if you have any closing words that you'd want to share with everyone.
I just thank you all for joining us tonight. I hope you found this information informative. We do have many opportunities for you to visit our campus, either virtually or in person. We do have tours and information sessions Monday through Friday at 10 and 2, and on Saturdays at 10, 12, and 2, and those are either in person or virtual. You can sign up on our website. And as I said, we will be sending a copy of this recording to all of you. And we're here for you if you have other questions. I hope we have the pleasure of reading your application. I wish you all very well and hope your families stay safe and healthy during this difficult pandemic.
And on behalf of the law school, I just want to thank you all for inviting us, Dr. McLeod and Joey, and we really enjoyed this opportunity to share some information with the students. And we're just very excited for you all as you embark on this next chapter of your educational journey, and hope to see you, you know, whether it's through the 3+3 program or down the pike, just hope to see you as you progress through your career at Seton Hall. So thanks and have a wonderful evening.
Thank you. Take care, everybody. Have a great night.
Good night.